A Long Island rivalry resumes tonight in Hempstead, New York. We're live from James M. Short Stadium. It's the number 5 Hofstra Pride playing host to the Stony Brook Seawolves. It's up next on Lax Sports Network.
Going to get his hands free. Beautiful look. The shot. We're tied up at 8, baby.
And we welcome you to Short Stadium in Hempstead, New York. Lax Sports Network is proud to present the CAA Game of the Week on LSN. Today we continue our season with a matchup of Long Island rivals. The 4-2 Stony Brook Seawolves trying to get back into the top 20. And number 5 Hofstra looks to stay undefeated at 6-0 on the season. Alongside Steve Panarelli, Brendan Glasheen with you from the broadcast booth. Thanks for joining us tonight. We just told you there, Steve, Hofstra 6-0, best start since 1973. Seth Tierney's got this group in a good spot right now.
Yeah, these guys are rolling right now. They're very well balanced. Great 6-on-6 offensively, great in the goal, decent at the face-off X, so they're very well balanced. They're a tough team to play.
That 6-0 record, they barely hung on to an 11-10 win over Providence this past Saturday. Stony Brook has dropped 2 games in a row, a loss to UMBC in the America East opener this past weekend. What do you think, Steve, for Stony Brook to get back on track?
Well, they're a young team. They got still kind of finding themselves a little bit here, but they're a talented team. Like you said, Long Island rivalry, they should be fired up coming in here after 2 straight losses. Lost
12-9 to UMBC. 5 goals, though, out of Alex Corpolongo. He's been outstanding for them. He's been their main source of offense.
Yeah, he's a pure goal scorer. He could do it within his stick as well, but he's great off the ball. He's great at finding those skip passes, getting in those lanes, and he could stretch the defense. Coach Tierney said he could shoot it well from 18 and out.
And he's the senior that has 16 goals on the season. That leads the team. And he also has 21 points. Josh Byrne for Hofstra had a big day in the win over Providence. 4 goals in the victory.
Yeah, Josh Byrne, he could do it all. If you put a short stick on him, he could take advantage of that matchup. He's great on the inside. He has those pure Canadian skills. He can catch anything in the middle of the defense, and he finishes extremely well.
Byrne is a senior. He has 20 goals on the season. Had 30 all of last year. He's got 20 through 6 games for the Hofstra Pride. These two teams, again, Long Island rivals. They got the rivalry back together last year. A 13-5 win for Stony Brook at home over the Pride. As we'll get to the face-off X now, we'll have Jay Lindsay going head-to-head with Chris Clark for Hofstra. And there's the opposing goaltender tonight, Brandon Mashashevsky, the junior from Penn Yan, New York. Played 30 minutes against Hofstra last year and had just 2 saves this season and 11 goals against average. So once again, it will be Clark, who made his season debut against Providence the other day, missed the first 5 games of the season. We might see Kyle Gallagher tonight as well. That's what Seth Tierney told us earlier in the week. Admits they should be using both to sort of ease Clark back into it. So we thank you for joining us. CAA Game of the Week, Long Island rivals, Hofstra of the CAA, of course, and Stony Brook of the America East Conference. 9th all-time meeting. And the first face-off getting tapped around with the toes. Hofstra collects. Nearly whisked away that time. And on the turnover, here come the Seawolves. Man with it right now for Stony Brook is Ryan Bitzer of Riverhead, New York. Bitzer will swing it around.
Both teams will push in transition, but Stony Brook, if they don't have anything, look for them to pull it out, and they like to play long sets on offense. So if you're Hofstra, you've got to be willing to dig in and be ready to play those long sets and those long stretches. Got to be communicating on defense, and again, be ready to play long stretches.
Stony Brook looking to bounce back. They've lost 2 games in a row. UMBC most recently. The 4-0 start for Stony Brook was their best since 1989 when they started 3-0. some big wins. They beat Brown earlier in the season. Tom Hahn gives it up. Connor Gritpy is also in there. Gritpy, a freshman from Nantucket, New York. Gritpy is on the end line.
So again, you see how patient Stony Brook will be on offense. You'll see a lot of inverts out of them tonight as well. They like to try to get those short stick defenders behind the goal, and they try to take advantage of those matchups.
Still a lot of surveying right now. As Wayne White circles, shot clock has been turned on. Here's White, another freshman from Huntington. Dishes it right to Hahn. 15 on the timer now. It is backed up by Hahn. 10 on the shot clock for the Seawolves. He's got to make a move here. They get it out in front, and a great stop by Concannon. Turned over by Stony Brook.
And I talked about Hofstra defensively. You've got to play the entire possession, and right there with literally 1 second left, they let a guy get open.
One of the keys to this game for Hofstra will be the defense out in front of Jack Concannon. Coach Tierney felt the defense was a little bit too complacent in that fourth quarter. They blew what was a 6-goal lead. It was down to 11-10. That was the final score.
Yeah, he played an outstanding game on Saturday. Really bailed them out of a lot of bad situations. And even the last play of the game, he made a huge save to secure that win. 19 saves, a career day for the junior Jack Concannon. He was the CAA Player of the Week. And our own at LSN said he was the goalie of the week in the NCAA. The man with it now is Mosier. Alex Mosier, a redshirt junior from Greenwich, Connecticut, played at Greenwich High School. Mashashevsky is protecting the house. Here's a cutter shot, and Mashashevsky with the stop. That shot by Dylan Alderman, the junior for Hofstra. In transition, it's Stony Brook, left to right. Jeff Ram moves it along.
Clear Stony Brook.
Some players sub in and out, spilling from the sideline. Four minutes in, first quarter. We have no score at Short Stadium in Hempstead, New York. Loop it around to Piquel, and it's backed up by Ryan Bitzer. A lot of freshmen for this Stony Brook group, and they've made up a large percentage of their offense this season. 34 goals of the team's 73. That's 47% coming from Matsuoka, Hahn, White, Gritpy, and Van Genhoven. Lots of freshmen seeing time for the head coach Jim Nagel in his 6th season at Stony Brook.
One thing, if you're Stony Brook, when you're dodging with the ball against Hofstra, you've got to commit to your dodge. They're very good at showing or doing what we call a half of a slide. So you've got to get that slide man to commit to you, and then you can look inside or then spin it and try to get a different matchup on the opposite side. But when you have the ball in your stick, you've got to be a threat, and you've got to get that slide guy to come to you and commit fully.
They keep dumping it down to the end line. Second straight possession in which the shot clock has turned on for the Seawolves. Owen Daly crashing down. His shot denied. It's plopped up in the air along the end line. Looks like Hofstra had it momentarily, and a quick rocket. Bitzer puts it through, and Stony Brook is on the board first. He came out of that tangle, created some room, and put it through.
When you play a team that's willing to play those long offensive possessions, when you finally do get the ball on the ground, you've got to find a way to come up with it. And Hofstra this possession, and Stony Brook comes away with a goal. Again, Bitzer just right place, right time, able to pick it up and get it out of his stick before anybody can get to him, and just buries it right-handed.
And you nailed it there, Steve. They're going to wait for that shot clock to trickle down. And like you said, right place, right time. He comes up with his 8th goal of the season. Bitzer has now scored a point in 26 of his last 27 games. Seawolves possession win.
You can see right away that they're going to be playing long possessions. They're going to try to take the air out of the ball. They'll be opportunistic when they can in transition, but if it's not a great opportunity or a great look, you're going to have to play, a minute and a half possession if you're Hofstra.
You can already feel the excitement, the heat of this Long Island rivalry. That Stony Brook sideline full of jubilation after that first goal. And that shot coming from Corpolango, the man we highlighted pregame, senior from Purdy's, New York, but at Summers High School. Like we told you, Seth Tierney, head coach of Hofstra, Alex Corpolango. We've got to keep our eyes on number 7 all night long. This is Wayne White, who twirls it back upstairs. 8:30 left, first quarter. Hofstra, the home team, CAA game of the week. First flag comes flying out as Jeff Ragg getting smashed down. Now there's a herd of white and red. We'll have a delayed flag here. Ball still loose, and it's Hofstra who grabs the ground ball. We'll get who it is now. It looks like it might be against Brendan Lynch.
Penalty on number 4, Brendan Lynch, 1 minute question.
And you take a look at, they got him for a cross check. I think he gets a little bit high there. Yes, he does. Hits him right in the chin. You've got it, when you throw your cross check, you've got to aim for his hip. When you aim for the shoulder, you're always going to slide.
Happened for this Hofstra team. I mean, you can see the numbers: 12 assists, 20 goals on the year, 32 points, undoubtedly leading the team in both categories. And Coach Tierney said it. I mean, there was a game earlier in the season against Georgetown in which Byrne didn't score any goals, but he felt it was his best game of the year because the offense orchestrates so smoothly when he's making other guys get better and get involved.
He's much more of a distributor this year, where last year he was more of a finisher, kind of take the ball, dodge, try to look for his own shot. His eyes and his vision is so much improved this season.
So a quick 2-goal run for Hofstra, and the Pride has the lead, 2-1. Coming up on the 5-minute mark of this first quarter. Mosier back to the top of the box. Here's Brendan Kavanaugh, who dumps it to the end line. Hofstra swings it around. They like having that weak side guy cut in. That was Kavanaugh. And it's backed up by the Pride. Jimmy Yannis in the right spot. Now, Hofstra this year averages just over 12 goals a game. 62 shot on goal percentage. Both of those numbers inside the top 15 of NCAA Division I. Here's Byrne. Misfires wide left, and once again it's Yannis.
It's a good job by Stony Brook. When he dodges, he wants to get to his left hand. You've got to make him go right. You've got to put him to his weak hand. When he sweeps across the top left-handed, it's almost automatic.
Mosier got his step, whistles one. It's caught, though, by Mashashevsky. Reels it in at the chest. Mashashevsky has been held to single digits in terms of goals allowed just twice this year. Oppositions had their way, and that's why the great start for Stony Brook might be a little bit misleading, but they had a great win against top 10 Brown earlier in the year. They posted 25 goals.
Clear for Stony Brook.
Here's Tom Hahn for Stony Brook, as players wheel in and out on both sidelines. Van Ginhoven gets it back out to White, pardon me. zip it right now for Corpolongo. To a cutter, this shot nearly trickles off the back of the stick. Concannon keeps it in front of him. Here's Hofstra in transition. They wind up, ball plucks down. That was dangerous. It was a good look though for Hofstra. They almost put one through again.
Clear for Stony Brook.
Puckhaber had that darting lane. Under 3 to play in the first. That's back to your point there about, Stony Brook taking its time and Hofstra in transition. They're going right up the field, going for that first shot.
You've got to be smart. I thought that was a great shot.
Sure, I would agree.
Yeah, you're 8 to 10 yards out. Nobody's on you. It's a good look. You just got to finish it, right? Easier said than done, but now it gives Stony Brook an opportunity. Big save, and now they can play this long offensive set.
Here's White, and now back to Pickell, freshman to freshman. Chris Pickell Jr. from Bayport, New York. Whistles blow on the end line. Cannon with the stop. And yeah, there was a flag down, I think there, Steve.
I think it was on Josh Byrne. 22.
Hofstra penalty on number 22, Josh Byrne. 1 minute unnecessary roughness.
So an unnecessary roughness whistle against Byrne, one of the captains for Hofstra. Well, the Pride have 2 games this week, 2 final non-conference games of the year. St. John's on Saturday, and then 5 CAA games the rest of the way. Some final tune-ups before conference play gets going. They swarm it back left, and White puts it home. Wayne White, the freshman. No, pardon me, they did get the stop. Concannon stepping out of his comfort zone to get that stop. Looked like White put it right by him.
That's what we call a mom goal. Mom sees the net move, she assumes it's a goal.
Under 2 to play. And Corpolongo snags it for Stony Brook. Well, pardon me, Wayne White, you didn't put that one home. Under 90 seconds now left here in the first quarter. Here's a shot. This one's good. Alex Corpolongo, the senior, evens the score 2-2. Is that a dad goal? What do you call that one?
That's a dad goal. Yeah, that one was in. That's a man's goal right there. We talked about him in the open. Corpolongo, he can stretch a defense and he can let it rip from the outside. And right here, he gets his feet set, hands back, and that's a tough shot for any goalie to save. He brings it with some really good velocity.
Corpolongo, the team leads 17 goals now on the season. Made the America East All-First team last year. So we're tied at 2. Quick 2-0 run by Hofstra, halted that time by the best scorer, undoubtedly, for Stony Brook, Alex Corpolongo. He's on pace to likely match his career high last year of 36 goals. He's up to 17 now in the 7th game of Stony Brook's season. Seawolves at 4-2 on the year. Hofstra controls this face-off, and so far it's been Chris Clark at the X. Clark playing in his 2nd game after missing the first 5 games due to injury. It was a lower body injury for Clark from Belmore, New York. He's a senior. 2-time All-CAA member. Mosier's touched the ball a lot tonight for Hofstra. Byrne was sort of hanging out for a second. Ground ball smothered by Mosier. Almost got tangled at midfield. Here comes Kavanaugh. Pass through the middle. Was disrupted by the Seawolves, and they come away with it.
I think if Kavanaugh could have that back, he would have taken that shot. A little too unselfish there. He had a pretty good look. He had it in a strong hand going lefty. Had a nice angle. Probably should have just let that rip on the run.
10 seconds left in the first quarter. Little windup by Bitzer, who got us started tonight in the scoring. Final 4 seconds, and it's backed up by Hofstra. Great hustle play. These final moments of the first. And they'll get it out to Michael Diener. The final seconds wind down in this first quarter. 15 minutes in the books at Short Stadium in Hempstead, New York. Hofstra, 2 goals. Stony Brook, 2 goals. We'll step aside. We'll come back for second quarter action. You are tuned in to the CAA Game of the Week on Lax Sports Network.
To view our menu or call us at 516-50.
Of this CAA Game of the Week, Hofstra comes in preseason 3rd in the CAA, taking on Long Island rivals Stony Brook. Steve Panarelli and Brendan Glasheen with you. You're on a beautiful night, temperatures in the upper 50s. It was mostly sunny today. I'm sure back in your playing days, I know you played at the Carrier Dome in Syracuse a lot of the time, but I'm sure when you had a chance to get outside, it's nice to have a beautiful night like this.
In April and May, yes. February and March, playing the Dome.
First day of spring was just the other day, but we're in the 20s now in the month of March. We're almost there. We're almost there towards April. So Hofstra, who won 4 of 5 face-offs in that first quarter, just turned it back over to Stony Brook. It's a good sign for Hofstra, by the way. Chris Clark, second game back, had a really good first half against Providence, 8 for 11. Slowed down in the second half, but off to a good start. Confidence not shaken here tonight.
Yeah, you could take draws in practice, but until you get to that game, that live situation, you start to get into a rhythm, into a flow. So he's going to get better and better as the more time he plays.
Corpolongo, number 7 in red for Stony Brook. He tied the game 2-2. Hofstra went on a little 2-0 run. As Van Genhoven circles it back to Wayne White. Through the teeth. Little stoppage of the brakes. Yeah, caught up there. That was Tom Hahn. A little over a minute now into the second quarter. Still Stony Brook possession. Also in that first quarter, Hofstra picked up 9 ground balls, 6 for Stony Brook. That ball was flailing often in that first quarter. As Corpolongo gets it to White, he's swarmed by 2 white jerseys. Now it's Bitzer, back to Van Genhoven. Bitzer gets a screen from the freshman teammate. Twist around shot. Ball loose. And Hofstra comes away with it. Nicely done by Barnathan, Griffin Barnathan, the sophomore.
And those 50-50 ground ball situations, those are big for Hofstra when they're on this end of the field. Got to come up with them and get that ball to the other end, because again, they're going to have to play long stretches with the way Stony Brook wants to play here tonight.
It's going to feel like a lot. It feels like, at least so far through about 18 minutes, that we're going to have a lot of stuffing of the crease here. There's going to be a lot of bodies going after loose balls, and that might be what it comes down to, things that you often see that don't make the box score. 3 of the games in the 8 all-time meetings between Stony Brook and Hofstra have been 1-goal games. This one put through for Hofstra. They once again take the lead. Josh Byrne, the man we talked about before the game, gets him on top here.
And if you're Stony Brook, you just can't lose sight of this guy off ball. You've got to show a little bit more respect to him, getting out to him as a shooter, especially when he's catching it with his left hand. So nice play by Josh to get himself open. But again, if you're Stony Brook, you've got to be aware of where he is off ball, and you've got to hedge or shade to him a little bit more than what they did there.
Way too much daylight, I feel like, for a guy like that. And one thing Coach Seth Tierney has told us about Josh Byrne, he's being relaxed, he's having a lot of fun out there, and it's interesting. I mean, you wonder how they're able to balance him, because he can also play off the ball like we just saw, or play a tempo, a style in which he doesn't have to have the ball. Here comes Hofstra in transition left to right. On the stop out in front. And it's going right back to Stony Brook, as that is Kyle Abdelatif who picks it up.
Very uncharacteristic of Hofstra, one of the best clearing teams in the country. They've already got 2 turnovers on clears tonight, not like them at all. They're usually very sound in the clearing game.
Abdelatif will hand it off to his offense, and Bitzer stands atop the box to put everyone in the right spot and sets up the shop now. Chris Pickell comes on. And Matsuoka, one of the defensive middies, comes off the field. This is Ryan Norton.
Hofstra chasing them out of their invert look. Anytime a ball carrier against a short stick is trying to carry behind, they're just sending the pole right away. As you see right there, sending the pole right away and making them move it on.
Tanner Griffin putting much of the pressure defensively on for Hofstra atop the circle. Fans starting to show love for the shutdown defense. Hahn had his spot trapped off. Now Bitzer is looking to make something happen. Back over to the left for Norton. Shot clock is turned on. That's the 3rd time we've seen that tonight for the Seawolves.
See again, they fire a pole right to the short stick defender and take them out of their invert set. So if you're Stony Brook, you've got to be aware of those quick slides. And just like they did right there, you got to look inside and follow the slide if you're an off-ball guy. If you're inside the crease and your guy's going as a slide guy, follow the slide and try to get yourself open.
Hahn backs it up for Stony Brook. Back to Norton. His shot gets disrupted. Blocked away by Puckhaber.
Shot clock violation on Stony Brook.
Still a 3-2 Hofstra lead with under 10 minutes to play in the first half. We'll see how Hofstra comes out here in this second quarter. They played a really good first half against Providence. And the term that Coach Tierney used talking to us was complacency. Was not pleased with the fourth quarter in particular when he talked about the second half. So we'll see if Hofstra can break open here, up 3-2. Here's Dylan Alderman. Crashing down, looking for a cutter, middle. Ryan Tierney, the freshman, son of Seth Tierney, has already scored a goal today. Looping back left, Alderman got a step, dumps it right side, and Yanis, his second of the game on the right doorstep. Hofstra with 2 straight goals, and now a 4-2 lead, doubling Stony Brook.
And Yanis again hanging out by that goal line extended area. Very smart of when he comes around from X, realizing that his defender's gone and that he's open. So he loves to hang around that area. He had 3 goals on Saturday that looked just like that, and his first goal again tonight was like that. So you've got to be, if you're Stony Brook, you've got to be aware of him off ball when you're that off ball defender. Realize that he's hanging around goal line extended. He loves that spot in the field.
Looked like he already had his move in mind the minute he got possession. I'm sure that's key as well to get that open look.
Yeah, well, absolutely. He knew exactly where he was going with the ball. He knew that there was no help coming to him, that he was going to be one-on-one with the goalie. So as soon as he caught it, he was already thinking about where he was going to bury that.
9 minutes exactly left in the second quarter. This is Hofstra with the face-off win, another one. They went 4 for 5 in that first quarter.
Face-offs are key. When you play a team that wants to slow it down, and make you play long stretches of defense. If you can win faceoffs and you can have that winners out mentality, like, you know, little kids pick up basketball, that goes a long way for your team if you can have success at the faceoff X.
On the other side of the spectrum, Stony Brook, like you've already adhered to, they like to speed things up, just a 44% faceoff clip. They spill it around the left side, and Kavanaugh gets in on the act. 3 in a row for Hofstra, and a 5-2 lead.
And again, there's that winners out mentality, right? You score a goal, you get it back with a nice face-off win, and right there, just a simple sweeping dodge, sees that the defender's coming to him, moves it right away, and Kavanaugh, all he has to do is have a little step down and a nice overhand shot. Nice play by Kavanaugh.
That's Brendan Kavanaugh. His 13th
He wound up and cranked that one home. Kavanaugh now has 13 on the season. Scored 2 goals against Providence on Saturday in the 11-10 win. That's now a point in 17 straight for Brendan Kavanaugh, a junior from Rockville, Central New York. 8:22 left, and Stony Brook sort of stuck in mud right now. They have not been able to control things at the X. And this time it will be Hofstra. Fans applaud. How does Stony Brook sort of slow things down? How do they regroup right now?
Well, they need to stop right now. They need to stop right here. They got to get the ball back on offense. They've got to start to maybe do some different things at the face-off X. They have a few guys that they like to use. Maybe put a defenseman with a long pole at the X. Got to do something different as far as what they're doing at the face-off X, because if Hofstra's going to keep scoring, keep winning face-offs, and they're going to be behind, it's going to be tough to play the way they want to play here tonight.
Yanis and Kavanaugh with a couple of goals. Here's a much-needed stop, like you just referred to, Steve, by Matuszewski. Stony Brook wheels back over to the left side of the turf.
Clear for Stony Brook.
And he'll try to set it up. Three consecutive goals for Hofstra. They've also scored 5 of the last 6. White had an option shut down on his left. Now he has a cutting man in, Van Genhoven. There's another freshman from Fort Mill, North Carolina. Bitzer, the senior, rolls it out to Corpolongo. Here's White, one-on-one. Brendan Lynch covering. Here's a shot and a score! Van Genhoven, a rocket over the right shoulder of Jack Concannon. A much-needed goal for the Seawolves. It's now 5-3.
And I talked about it. Hofstra is sliding extremely fast to the short stick defender. So if you're Stony Brook, as soon as you see that slide coming, you've got to spin the ball, and they're able to move it faster than Hofstra can recover. And Van Genhoven is the recipient there at the end, is able to finish it. But again, if you're Stony Brook, you got to recognize that Hofstra's coming at you fast with those slides, move it, and find the open man.
Van Genhoven, 14th of the campaign. One-time America East Player of the Week. That was earlier in the season. And he picks up his Seawolves in a much-needed way. Another face-off. This one's still loose. And it's controlled by the Pride.
On Stony Brook, possession Hofstra.
Hofstra has it, and it looks like... Is there a penalty, or did Seth Tierney take a timeout? There's clear frustration by Jim Nagel, head coach of Stony Brook. Six and a half to play in the first half. Yanis has a 2-goal performance so far, and now it's a timeout.
Hofstra calls timeout.
For the 11th year head coach, Seth Tierney of Hofstra. Once again, Hofstra has scored the game's last 3 goals.
I got this feeling inside.
And both teams will huddle up on their respective sidelines. Don't forget, for all of the day's lacrosse news and highlights, be sure to check out Lacrosse Now. From up-to-the-minute breaking news to interviews with the sport's top players and coaches, Lacrosse Now is the go-to destination for Lax fans. Catch it daily at 5 p.m. and 9 p.m. Eastern right here on Lax Sports Network. They'll have coverage at halftime from this game. We'll be joined by the go-ahead head coach at the half. Right now it's looking like Seth Tierney's Hofstra Pride. They've come out, and like you said, not only did they get that goal to take the 3-2 lead, they came right back, 1-2 face-offs, and they didn't waste any time.
Yeah, offensively, they've looked very settled here in the first half. I talked about it before the game. They're a very well-balanced offense. You know, Ryan Tierney, the freshman, can do it with the ball in his stick. You got a guy like Byrne, who's extremely good off ball, and you got guys like Kavanaugh dodging off the top. And Yanis, the last 2 games, he's done really well with finishing the ball and finding his opportunities. And then you see this one there by Stony Brook from Van Genhaven. Again, talking about Stony Brook offensively, obviously they're playing very methodical, but what I liked on that last possession, and I spoke about it before, was they were able to spin the ball faster than Hofstra can recover. Hofstra's been sliding extremely aggressive here in this second quarter. They have to continue to do that if they're going to have success on offense.
6 minutes to play. We'll see what types of adjustments both head coaches made out of the timeout. Dylan Alderman with the ball, stomps on the brakes and hits Byrne. Byrne crashes that end line and then wheels one left towards Yanis. Bullets right by him. Well, it's clear that Byrne has a great feel for the game, has great vision. Kavanaugh had some room, instead opts to go down low. Mosier to the right side, Alderman. They'll keep looping it now, dump down. Great hesitation. And is that Yanis again? That might have been. It is. Yanis with the hat trick and trickery from the sophomore to put it home. Fall away shot.
Not much room on that. Didn't have a great angle there. Was able to just find that one spot, the key spot that he had to throw it in. Again, not much of an angle, not much room to put that ball away. But Yanis does a nice job of coming up from goal line extended and increasing his angle and having just enough to bury that.
Back-to-back 3-goal games for this sophomore. He missed all of last year, ACL tear. Great story that not only is he back in the lineup for Seth Tierney, but making the most of some playing time and starting to hit his stride midway through the year.
Well, he's playing with 2 guys that take a lot of pressure off of him.
Sure.
You know, obviously Byrne draws a lot of attention, and with the way the freshman Tierney's been playing, you know, he's drawing the 1 or the 2 defensemen on the opposing team. So he's getting the 3rd defender, and he's getting a lot of opportunities here, and he's taking advantage of his opportunities.
Hofstra has scored 4 of the last 5 goals. They come right back and respond after Corpolongo made it a 2-goal game. Last year, these 2 teams met at Stony Brook on Long Island. A big win over number 12 Hofstra for the Seawolves. They won 13-5. Hofstra had 13 turnovers and 7 were forced by the Stony Brook defense. Right now, it feels like Stony Brook's defense has no answers for this very patient, even-keeled offensive attack for the Pride so far tonight. This is Byrne, winds up, wide right.
Stop at number 22, Johnson Byrne.
I think Byrne just dapped up his buddy to his right. Alderman had him open on the right side. Did get backed up, though, by Hofstra. Here's a twist around, a 1-bouncer in for Alderman. That's his 2nd tonight, and Hofstra is rolling in his first half. up 7-3.
You can't let guys get to the middle of the field. Right there, was able to sweep across the top, get to a strong hand. If you're Stony Brook, you got to force him down the alley, force him down the side to his weak hand, and give your goalie a chance. As he's going left-handed, he's increasing his angle, seeing more and more of that goal. So you've got to do a better job with your one-on-one matchup and force him down the side. But a nice play by Alderman.
Alderman with another goal, and for Hofstra, there's their associate head coach after the timeout by Stony Brook. Associate head coach Kevin Unterstein in his 4th year as the associate head coach, and he's also in his 7th season overall as an assistant. He played for Seth Tierney, and at the same time, he's playing professionally for the New York Lizards in the MLL.
Yeah, Kevin. I played with Kevin, was teammates with Kevin.
Coming up on 3 minutes left in the first half. At Short Stadium in Hempstead, New York. Stony Brook with patience on this possession. Bitzer got us started in the scoring tonight. Corpolongo trying to shovel it underneath the waist. And now in goal for the Seawolves, it's Michael Bollinger, who takes over for Brandon Mashashevsky. Corpolongo getting harassed up atop the box. Another long possession here for the Seawolves. Bitzer turns, hits Hahn through the middle. White has to come over and get it for Stony Brook. White, one of the impact freshmen for this program.
Hofstra's dialed in defensively right now. Slides are crisp, their recoveries are great, and the few times they break down, Concannon's there to bail them out, so really tough defense right now to go against.
Right off the shiny part of the stick, and that ball just soared back behind the cage. New personnel comes in for both sides, and that shot was by Wayne White, by the way, for Stony Brook. There's White, 4 man-up goals this year of his 8 total, so half of his goals have been on the man-up. He's got all 4 Stony Brook man-up goals this season.
So you're saying Hofstra should take a look at him. Kind of know where he's at.
Well, if we hit that spot again, it wouldn't be a bad idea. Here's White, dumps it. Looked like some extra eyes came off the intended target there, as Gritpy was searching to move it to the left. And Hofstra will get it on the Stony Brook turnover. Under 90 seconds left in the first half. There's his stuff right in front of the crease. And Concannon snares it for the Prime.
What a save by Concannon. One-on-one. Guy's got all day time and room. And again, we talked about it. The few times this Hofstra team breaks down, he's there to bail him out. And he's just, the last couple of games, he's just been lights out for them.
Concannon, once again, was named the CAA Player of the Week. We made the preseason All-CAA team. Product of St. Anthony's in South Huntington. And one thing Coach Tierney said, plain and simple, he's happy for Jack, he's happy for Jack's family, but our defense in front of Jack was something in the lacrosse room we cannot be all that excited about, as Jim Nagel takes the timeout for Stony Brook. It's a 7-3 lead for Hofstra with 41 seconds left in this first half. Don't forget to tune into Lacrosse Now Face-Off. LSN analyst Josh Hawkins and Chris Marshall go toe-to-toe, debating and dissecting the biggest stories in the game. It's the hottest takes on the hottest topics. Lacrosse Now Face-Off, Thursday through Monday, right here on LSN. CAA Game of the Week. We are in the first half, 41 seconds to go, alongside Steve Panarelli, Brendan Glasheen. With you here, it's been mostly Hofstra dominating this first half. It was back and forth early. It was 2-2 at the end of one. And ever since, it's been Hofstra 5-1 in this second quarter. They've controlled the tempo on the offensive side. They've gotten some great looks. And you just commented earlier, their defense has been solid as well. Yeah, very well-balanced team. Again, when you look at a lacrosse team, the first thing you always look at is the goal. Are they strong in the goal? And Concannon, obviously. And again, we take a look here at some of the saves that he's been making here tonight. The next place you look at is your face-off X. You go to the face-off X and Chris Clark off of injury, very good face-off man. And then you look at both ends. Defensively, great team unit, slide extremely well, great communication on that end. And then offensively, very balanced. You got a guy like Byrne, you got the freshman Tierney, you got guys like Alderman, and Yanis and Kavanaugh. So they're very well balanced at everywhere, every spot of the field. So they're just a really good team, really sound team, and anybody who plays them, it's a tough team to play against. Well, that's the program that Seth Tierney has built. He takes great pride in that, as you know. Talked about it earlier. He played at Hopkins. He's also a two-time Conference Coach of the Year. He's trying to get this team back to the NCAA tournament. First time since 2011 they made the tournament in 4 straight years, 08 through 2011. 25 seconds, and Coach Tierney, right on cue there, takes a timeout for Hofstra. You've mentioned their balance. They have so many midfielders that are juniors, and thinks those junior middies do a great job talking without speaking, if that makes any sense. LSN Live is the place to hang out, have fun, and talk lacrosse. The Lax Sports Network crew delivers a fresh and entertaining take on the most interesting storylines in lacrosse. It's LSN Live, Thursday through Monday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, only on Lax Sports Network. Both teams huddled up. Stony Brook, like we said a second ago, being outscored 5-1 in this second quarter. It was 2-2 at the end of the first quarter. One thing that we've also mentioned for both teams, Steve, they're coming on short weeks, and also the idea, and more for Stony Brook, they just came off their first conference game of the year when they played UMBC. Taking a break from conference play to go play a team that is not in conference, certainly it's a distraction, I guess, because it's not an impact on the league schedule, but it certainly is probably a good thing. It's a nice tune-up to get you ready for what's going to be a hectic conference year because you're more familiar with those teams, but I'm sure a game like this does help a little bit. There's pros and cons to both ways.
Players want to play. We used to hate practice. Everybody wants to play games, so you look forward to those weeks where you had a Tuesday game, you went Saturday, Tuesday to Saturday. Just more games, more times, more touches, and again, a rivalry game, so you get up for this one.
Stony Brook back in action Sunday at Hartford, trying to get their first America East win. Final 7 seconds. Hofstra trying to put one more on the board. Bollinger with the stop. Hung on to that one by a fingernail, and he'll sail it down the side. And the first half has come to a close. Hofstra on top 7-3. They outscore the Seawolves 5-1 in this second quarter. And like you said, Steve, some great face-off play. The defense was tight, 9 face-off wins for Hofstra, as opposed to Stony Brook's 3 face-off wins in the first half.
Stop over at halftime or after tonight's game.
So we're hoping to be joined here in just a moment by Seth Tierney, head coach of the Hofstra Pride. Again, his team ranked number 5 in the country. And we'll send it down now to Coach Seth Tierney. Hey, Coach, you guys are off to a good start. You got a great first half out of Chris Clark at the face-off X, and you guys have not looked back.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to be a little cleaner at the X. They're trying to muck it up there. I understand their game plan, and then there was a couple of violations on the wings and some holds and some pushes that's kind of tilted it one way. I'd like to be a little bit cleaner in the clearing game, especially coming off that last man down. It got a little crazy. And then I just want to be able to have the ball on offense. You know, obviously their game plan is to have the ball. They've gotten a couple of stall warnings, but we got to be patient. We got to stop them on D, and we got to have the ball on O.
Coach, defensively, you guys look really in check, really in sound and in tune with each other right now. Talk about when they go to their invert set. Are you guys sliding early and trying to take them out of it?
Yeah, Stephen, we're not going early, but we just don't want to get beat by a dodger from behind the goal against the short stick. So we got to do a better job of getting off of it, knowing that there's a slide coming, and then just trying to beat their passes with our foot speed is the game plan in regards to that, because we know they're going to try to skip it through to 7, who's got an absolute bomb from up top.
Hey, Seth, thanks for the time. Best of luck in the second half.
Thanks, guys.
Seth Tierney, the head coach of the Hofstra Pride in year number 11. His team up 7-3 at the half here at Short Stadium in Hempstead, New York. We'll send it now to the LSN studio to get our halftime coverage started. It's the CAA Game of the Week on Lax Sports Network. And we welcome you back to Stewart Stadium in Hempstead, New York, alongside Steve Panarelli, Brendan Glasheen with you. 7-3 lead for the 5th-ranked Hofstra Pride over the Stony Brook Seawolves. Opening face-off, a key for the second half for Stony Brook. They got a face-off win. They had just 3 of those in the first half. 9 face-off wins for Chris Clark. Second game back from injury for the Hofstra Pride. We thank you for joining us for the CAA Game of the Week. 5 of the final 6 goals of that first half were scored by Hofstra. And still, Steve, plenty of time for Stony Brook. Still plenty of time in this one.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you got a whole half to play. They're not down double digits here, so they're well within the game. For them, the key is winning a few of those face-offs. And being able to convert after these long possessions. I think Hofstra defensively has done an excellent job playing in front of Concannon with their slide, their recovery. Coach Tierney talked about it at halftime. So if you're Stony Brook, you got to do a better job offensively. They got to move the ball quicker and catch these guys in their slides and their rotations.
They pass it towards the middle of the box. Jeff Rand got shut down. White gets it back to Reh. To the end line now. They're still trying to find an opening. White wiggles free. Shot clock has been turned on 3 times so far for Stony Brook in this one. And the net was loose, so the officials will jump on that. Doug Donovan and James Vignon, the two to take care of that.
And the other thing, Stony Brook's got to find a matchup where they can, right now they're just losing one-on-one match. They're not beating anybody. And when the slides come from Hofstra, the guy's not really beat, as you see right there. And it makes it easier for a defense to slide and rotate. They need someone that can win a matchup and create for this offense.
Hofstra's defense like a pack of wolves right now. They are hungry, jumping out on the man who possesses the ball. Still plenty of patience by the Seawolves. Bitzer angles, had a man cutting, but they could not execute.
Ground ball number 88, Griffin Barnathan.
And that's a play you've got to hook up. You've got a guy wide open in the middle. If you could put that pass on his stick, he's got all day to throw his fakes and beat the goalie. So you got to hook that pass up.
It's the junior Jake Sheets who had an open lane.
Stop by number 22, Josh Byrne.
Here's another stop to our left, another big one. Stony Brook's got numbers here out on the break. As Gerster found it middle, and Concannon continues to be an anchor in front of the crease.
And when a goalie's playing like this, it's so frustrating. Stony Brook's working so hard to get any type of look or opportunity offensively, and the few times they have, he has been there to answer the call and has just stoned them. I mean, that's a play that, that's a shot that you've got to have fall for you if you're Stony Brook.
Clear for Hofstra.
Hofstra has not let Stony Brook get any momentum whatsoever in these opening minutes of the second half. Mosier and Kavanaugh play catch. Hofstra out to a 6-0 start, trying to keep the historic season going. It's their best mark since, since 1973. Stop in net. And once again, like we told you, Michael Bollinger, he's just a freshman from Sachem, New York, took over for Brandon Meshevsky in net.
Stony Brook penalty on number 7.
Lots of pressure for the freshman, not only to come in here, stop the bleeding, but hopefully keep your team afloat in these final 30 minutes of action.
And now he's got to go against one of the top man-up units in the country, operating just under 50%, which is a very good percentage for man-up. And Hofstra will run a 3-3 set. They put Byrne right in the middle at the point. He's got great vision from that spot, and he's such a threat from the outside. So they'll stay in the 3-3. They'll move it around. They'll look for their spots where they can step in, draw that team, and then one more right there. See that?
Perfect execution. A man-up goal, number 10 of the year in the man-up situation. Looked like Kavanaugh who put it home.
Again, they don't do anything fancy on man-up. They play their 3-3 set, and they just got great shooters on the outside and guys that are unselfish and guys that are good at finding those open lanes and those skip passes. And with Byrne at the point, he draws so much attention. Guys like can get open on the crease just like they did there. And Alex Moser finishes it for him. But again, great man-up unit. When you have that type of talent, you don't have to draw up fancy plays or get too creative. Get into a basic set, move the ball faster than the defense can rotate. And that's what Hofstra did right there on that man-up.
Yeah, pardon me. Mosier found Tierney, who crashed in, the freshman Tierney, with his second of the night. And that's his 4th man-up goal of the season. He's been a good man for that spot. Tierney, the freshman, son of Seth Tierney, the head coach of Hofstra. And the Pride has scored 6 of the game's last 7 goals. Stony Brook's offense has been held stagnant And like you said, they've got to find someone who can find a mismatch defensively. But if Hofstra keeps executing, Stony Brook might run out of time. Alderman back to Byrne. Byrne lines up. They dump it underneath the cage. Alderman picks it up. Byrne lines up, and that one way wide to the right.
Number 22, Josh Byrne,
It's backed up by Tierney. Sure, for Byrne, right? 5-goal lead. Things have opened up a little bit. There's a little bit more freedom. You're a little bit more relaxed. But like we told you, we don't want to see Hofstra, at least one of their keys to this second half, don't be complacent. Had an 11-5 lead entering the fourth quarter on Saturday against Providence, and the final score ended up being 11-10. 5 fourth quarter saves for Jack Concannon bailed them out. Some more tangling bodies. A flag comes out. It's unclear as to who will have possession.
So it'll be Hofstra here again, man up. Again, one of the top units in the country. They just came off a goal in which they scored it man up. And again, we're going to watch them here. You're going to see them in that 3-3 set. Look for the two low guys. See, they're going to carry up here, run like a wheel play. And then eventually they'll get to their spots where guys feel comfortable. Another wheel here on the right side. They'll move it back across the top. And again, there's that pass. Wide open again in that 3-3 look.
And that's Tierney who puts it home. A hat trick for the freshman. His 5th man-up goal of the year. Same exact play that works again for Hofstra.
The same exact play. You run the two wheels, you run them on each side, get the defense moving just a little bit, and then they settle down into their 3-3. And if you're Stony Brook, it's really just covering skip passes and putting just a little bit of pressure on the guy with the ball getting to his hands so he can't just sit there like Byrne does. You know, if I'm Stony Brook or anybody playing against Hofstra, I think I'm getting aggressive on Byrne when he has the ball in his stick in these man-up opportunities, because if you don't, then he just sits there and he picks you apart. So you got to get to his hands and make him move the ball faster than he would like. But again, 3-3 set, nice and simple for Hofstra, looking very crisp and clean on the man-up here tonight.
Well, the Pride is certainly living up to the bill of that number 5 rank in the country. One of 4 unbeaten teams going into week 6 of the season. It's now 7 of the last 8 goals scored by Hofstra, and 4 in a row for the Pride. And we've told you, Hofstra's got one more game in the non-conference against St. John's on Saturday before the conference season gets started. They'll be at Fairfield on April 1st. I think the word you use, Steve, is right on point, crisp. It just looks like a very crisp effort on both sides for Hofstra tonight.
They've been very clean on both ends of the field. Even for them to have 2 turnovers in the clearing game. Another goal right there by Hofstra.
Man, oh man, that's Byrne who crashed down the right lane. Pardon, Alderman who had the spot. Alderman with another goal here tonight. Alderman's 2nd of the contest. Byrne was sort of playing decoy there, had the pick set, and Alderman went right down that lane, flashing and put it home himself.
Played a little bit of a 2-man game there.
Yep.
What we would call a slip pick from Byrne. They've probably been switching out on those, showing a lot of respect to Byrne in the 2-man game. You know, coming from that Canadian box, he knows how to play in small spaces. And right there, they just catch Stony Brook leaning and showing too much to Byrne. And then Alderman's able to get down the alley and finish it on the run.
Well, this is the 7th game of the season for Stony Brook and Hofstra. Stony Brook has now allowed double-digit goals in 5 of their 7 games. As a team, they went down big to Rutgers in blowout fashion. They had a big shootout win over big win over Brown earlier in the year, a top 10 win, 2 top 10 wins on the year. Here's some of the connections between the 2 schools on Long Island. Hofstra's midi, Brendan Kavanaugh, actually has a brother that played here at Stony Brook. Kevin played for the Stony Brook hockey team. And then Chris Clark's brother, Sean, a 4-year swimmer at Stony Brook. So there's connections all over, not just on the lacrosse field. Right now it's been all Hofstra, 5 goals in a row for the Pride. They've scored 8 of the last 9.
If you're Coach Tierney, this is a good spot to see, did your team learn from Saturday? They had a lead as it got later in the game. Didn't play well with the lead, got very careless and sloppy with the ball, took a few bad shots, and had a few turnovers that led to goals. So let's see how they respond here tonight against Stony Brook.
We've referenced last year, too. These 2 teams met up on Long Island, a 13-5 win. Flag comes soaring out of the pocket of the far side official. Stony Brook finally with a possession win. A couple of man-up goals for Tierney, and then another one by Alderman make it 10-3 with about 7.5 minutes left in his 3rd quarter. This is the 9th meeting all time. This series was started back in 2004. Took a little bit of a break. The teams got the thing back together last year. Here's a man cutting in white. The pass was lasered over his head. He couldn't reel it down, and it's turned over.
And it just seems Stony Brook is just half a step off. Something's just not clicking offenses. A few times where they've had guys. So you take a look there at the penalty, a little bit of a slash, got him on the shoulder. Getting back to Stony Brook, things just aren't clicking offensively. Everything seems to be just a tad bit off. They've had a few guys open in the middle that they couldn't hook up those passes. Another opportunity there with a guy on a full sprint, wide open, passes a little high. Everything just seems to be a little off for this offensive unit. Maybe this man up will inject some life into them and get them back on track.
This year, Stony Brook 4 for 11 on the man up. We told you earlier it's the freshman Wayne White who's got all 4 of their man up goals. A much needed one for Bitzer. Bitzer scored the game's first goal, and that's his 2nd of the contest. He's now got 9 on the year. Stony Brook halts the 5-0 run by Hofstra.
And it's just good ball movement here by Stony Brook in the man up. Catching Hofstra, just not able to slide and rotate as fast as the ball moves. And just a nice play by Stony Brook, moving the ball, finding the guy at the end, wide open, Ryan Bitzer. Nice shot with the right hand from Bitzer.
Bitzer was also a standout football player and basketball player at Riverhead High School, based in New York. Under 7 to play in the 3rd quarter. Concannon was back behind the cage, so that net looked completely empty on your screen. Man goes down, the flag comes out, and now it's Stony Brook that's going to get tagged with the flag here.
That'll be a push with possession on the sideline there. So you see right here in the clear, push for possession.
Yep, that's Jeff Rah who rammed down Brendan Lynch.
Let's see if Stony Brook takes my advice here. I would press out to Byrne. I'm not going to let him just sit there and pick me apart. And heat him up a little bit. Get to his gloves. Make him move the ball laterally and take away some of those skip passes. Stick's got to be on the inside. Take away all those skip lanes.
Let's keep an eye on Tierney, 43 in white, who has scored the 2 previous man-up goals for Hofstra. That percentage is going on up. Came into the game at 45%. That shot just off to the right for Kavanaugh. Backed up by Stony Brook. That sideline starting to show some life.
That's the one thing when you play out of a 3-3 set man up. You don't actually have a guy at X. So if you take a shot and you miss it wide, you've got to be prepared as those two guys that hang around goal line extended. You've got to be ready for that race to the end line. That's kind of one of the things when you're playing in a 3-3 you could be susceptible to. So right there, Stony Brook takes advantage of it and able to get to the end line first and gain possession.
Still lots of time for the Seawolves. Here's Ryan Norton, senior from Garden City, New York. Loops it over to Pitkell. Pitkell stepping to his left. Lost the angle as we approach the 5-minute mark of this third quarter. Bitzer gets shut off on the angle, down back to the crease. Far side, it's Bitzer over the shoulder hurl. Backed up though by his teammate as Tom Hahn hawked it down for Stony Brook. Like we told you, Bitzer halted the 5-0 run by Hofstra. They did their job getting the stop. Let's see if they can make it 2 in a row. The ground ball plucked away by the Pride. And one of the officials on the end line points out some sort of a push, and I think possession's going back to Stony Brook. That is the case.
Might have been a loose ball hold too. Not sure what actually happened there, but either way, Stony Brook has possession. If you're Stony Brook, you just want to make this a 4-goal game going into the fourth quarter. Give yourself a chance. You know, obviously you can make it a 3-goal, great, but if you can get within 4 going into the fourth, you've got an opportunity to get back into the game. Obviously, you're not going to get it all here at once, so just try to get back.
Bitzer hits the man cutting, and Hahn puts it behind the goalie in net, Concannon. There were 2 players starting in, and Hahn made the grab.
No goal.
They've got no goal. Looks like the ruling changed. It was all celebration on the left of us. Here's another look at it. Hahn grabbed it.
I think
Hofstra penalty on number 4.
I think 40, Von Gaven was in the crease. I think he actually fell in the crease before that shot was taken.
And again, like we said, Van Ginhoven was one of the players cutting, and then Hahn was right behind him. It was one of those look what I found type of passes that he received.
Yeah, Van Ginhoven was in the crease, and I think it was a push from behind as well. And that's why I think we've got a man-up opportunity here for Stony Brook.
So no goal, but a man-up chance, as Steve just mentioned, for the Seawolves. White dumps it a couple yards in front of him. Ground ball. White's in there, Bitzer as well.
Teams are even.
Still loose, Derek Lloyd had it, and now it's Hofstra in transition.
And the clear.
Barnathan slows it down. Tommy Volkel will leave and head to his right, and now the offensive attack out there inside. 3 minutes to go in the third.
That's a big ground ball
you know
right
what I was
there.
Gonna say.
Yeah, that's a huge ground ball. Stony Brook starting to get some momentum back. Offense is starting to click a little bit. Hofstra needed that possession, needed that ground ball, and Barth Hayden did a nice job there. And we have another penalty down. I think it'll go against Stony Brook's bench. I think one of the assistant coaches may have had some words for the official that I'm sure weren't too kind.
Barnathan, just a sophomore. He played last year at Nassau Community College. Was a JUCO first-team player. Scored 15 goals as a freshman. 10-4 lead, Hofstra in front. They have scored 8 of the last 10 goals overall. And they had just scored 5 in a row until that run was halted by Bitzer.
And right here you can see Hofstra has already learned from their mistakes. Last week, the same exact situation. Have a lead, they have a flag down, they rushed the shot, didn't wait for the 60-second shot clock to come on, could have burnt more time. Providence comes down and scores. This time they wait for the timer on and run that clock down, knowing that they're going to get possession back regardless of what happens on the possession, but kill an extra 30 or 40 seconds. So that's a good sign if you're Coach Tierney. Your team obviously learned from their mistake over the weekend.
And Byrne took it within 10 seconds and fired on Bollinger, who made the stop on the one hopper by his left knee. Got about 100 seconds now left in this third quarter. This is the 9th meeting all time between these two Long Island schools. 3 of those games have been 1-goal ball games. One of them was back in 2007. Big win in overtime for Stony Brook. Mosier got stopped in that little one-hop shot. Got some hang time, but couldn't crash it through. Here come the Seawolves in transition. This is Jeff Reff, who will slow things down.
Teams are even.
Stony Brook gets everything aligned. As you can see, Corey Vangenhoven comes back in, as well as Corpolongo.
1 minute remaining.
Minute to play in the third.
Coach Tierney not happy with that shot selection. Again, we talked about it. They want to possess the ball here, work for really good looks with this lead, and he wasn't happy with that shot selection.
Bitzer's been hanging out on that far side end line. See if Stony Brook takes it all the way to the end here. Vangenhoven dumps it down to Norton. He's surveying. This is Sheets, who has it. Jake Sheets, one of the reserve attackmen. 20 seconds. Bitzer has now been a target for this Hofstra defense. The Piranhas hunting him down. Hahn flips it, turned over. 6 seconds for the Pride. Ball comes loose. Scuffle for it.
At the end of the third
and that brings us to the end of the third quarter. After the mishandle at midfield. Hofstra scored 5 in a row in this quarter. It also dates back to the end of the second quarter. 10-4 lead on Stony Brook at home. This is the CAA Game of the Week, and it's live on Lax Sports Network.
Or call us at 512. Minute Oil Change Uniondale.com for more information. As an official sponsor of Hofstra Athletics, the Long Island Marriott is just 3 minutes down the road on James Doolittle Boulevard. We hope you'll come on over to Champions before, after a game and try our legendary wings. Best of luck to Hofstra and have fun out there tonight. Go Hofstra! Then check out the back of your ticket or your print at home ticket.
Lax Sports Network is your home for CAA Lacrosse in 2017 with the Game of the Week scheduling 19 games, including both the men's and women's semifinals the first week of May. On Saturday, April 1st, it's the first CAA Women's Game of the Week when Towson visits James Madison in the conference opener for both teams. Coverage starts with the CAA pregame show at 12:30 Eastern, and game time set for 1 p.m. The CAA Game of the Week only on Lax Sports Network. This is our Game of the Week this week. The number 5 Hofstra Pride and unranked Stony Brook. It's the start of the fourth quarter. Alongside Steve Panarelli, Brendan Glasheen, we thank you for joining us at Stewart Stadium in Hempstead, New York. It's been mostly Hofstra. Stony Brook made a little bit of noise at the end of that third quarter. Hofstra has shown zero signs of letdown, no signs of complacency. That will make Seth Tierney a happy man.
Well, I think it helps, too, that Stony Brook kind of blitzed them last year. You know, it could be a trap game on a Tuesday. You've got one of the best starts in program history. You're ranked 5th in the country. Everybody's telling you how good you are, and then you get a team that's coming in here with 2 straight losses. So it could be a bit of a trap game, but these guys came in focused, came in determined, and obviously motivated by, you know, a little bit of the shellacking that they got last year at the hands of Stony Brook.
It was right around this time last year, March 15th, 13-5 win for the Seawolves over the Pride. That was a big one because that's one of 2 wins for Stony Brook over Hofstra when it was ranked. All time, Stony Brook just 15-83 against teams that are inside the top 20. Not a good clip, but they've got 2 top 10 wins this year, including a win over Brown and a nice performance earlier in the season for Stony Brook. They started the year 4-0. That was their best start since they went 3-0 in 1989. Now the Seawolves are trying to halt a 2-game losing streak, down 6 entering the 4th. Hofstra will shoot here on the right side of this fourth quarter. Alderman, who's got 2 goals, mishandled the pass, took his eyes off the ball for a moment. Gets it back, some quick passing now as Kavanaugh backpedals. Here's Byrne, winds up, wide left. Backed up though by Yanis, who has 3 goals tonight. You know, Byrne has not been the sexy scorer tonight, but he's got 3 assists, and that's what he does. He makes things happen.
And great on the man up for them playing that point, freeing guys up, drawing a lot of attention from the defense. And he's done some nice dodges here tonight. Stony Brook, you know, the few times he has dodged, they've done a nice job of forcing him to his right hand, taking away his left. That's what you have to do against a player like him. But he has had some opportunities, just hasn't finished as well as he usually does.
Here's Ryan Tierney, tight-roping that end line. Lost his balance. Kavanaugh one-on-one with Rep. Kavanaugh got a step. Nice block-out move by Rep, but still backed up by Hofstra. They've controlled the opening 2.5 minutes of this fourth quarter. The Pride 6-0 for the 4th time in program history, trying to make it 7-0. Alderman, nice stop by Bollinger. He's had a good game since entering. He's kept Stony Brook alive and in striking distance.
He's been solid since he came in. He came in cold, right before the end of the first half, but he's done a nice job. He's making the saves he's supposed to make, and obviously seen the ball extremely well here tonight.
Yeah, he's made 6 saves in about 20-plus minutes on 9 shots by Hofstra. Here's Stony Brook on the left, shooting on Concannon. So far for the CAA Player of the Week this past week. He's got 4 saves, and that's a good number. That means he hasn't been tested too much tonight. Has allowed the 4 goals. Here's White, loops it back to his right with Lynch applying that double team pressure along with Tanner Griffin. Stony Brook searching for answers offensively. Looking for that mismatch. Down the stretch here. Hahn circles around. Once more, it's the quarterback, Bitzer. Vangenhoven gets out of the way. They dump it right, and Hahn on the doorstep finishes it off. Stony Brook now cuts the deficit in half. It's now 10-5.
One of the few mistakes Hofstra's made all night here defensively, off ball. Shows you how you have to cover guys off ball. I mean, he's barely open, not much room there to get that pass through. And you know, college lacrosse, Division I lacrosse, you've got to have your stick all the way down, taking away that skip pass. And just a nice play by Hahn, getting in and out of his stick pretty quick.
It's the 5th point tonight for Bitzer. He's got 2 goals, now 3 assists. How in the world did he make that pass? I mean, that was a tough one.
Yeah, there was no room there. Like I said, you know, Hofstra did a pretty good job of covering that up, but it just shows you that in Division I lacrosse, you've got to be all the way down that backside, taking away those skip passes. Guys can fit it into tight spots.
Bitzer's now up to 24 points on the year. 9 goals and 15 assists. Clock stops, 10:28. Personnel changes for both the Pride and Seawolves. Well, if Hofstra wins here tonight, they will have won 5 of the last 7 head-to-head. Hofstra does lead this series overall 4-3 entering tonight. It's remarkable, too. Hofstra at 9-6 all of last year. They'd be just 2 wins off the win total of a season ago without even entering conference play, should they pull this one out tonight. That crisp and clean play has existed. Let's see if it follows through for the full 60 minutes. They still have 10 left, 50 in the books, up 10-5.
Well, I can tell you from watching them Saturday to today, you know, playing with the lead, they've been much more patient on offense with playing this lead. There's a turnover as I'm talking about how patient and well they're playing on offense with the lead, but they've done a much better job here tonight, definitely showing signs of improvement and being able to play again with a a large lead.
Yeah, Tierney got cut off by Kyle Abdulatif, the junior from Ballston Spa, New York. He's got 8 caused turnovers on the season. One of the better clips on this Stony Brook squad. Well, coming up on 9 minutes left in regulation. Here's Bitzer. He's got a little bit of a lane now, one-on-one. Rolls it out, now tries to twist around. Good stop by Concannon, plowing over to his right.
We had a flag down, technical foul. He's got a technical foul push. Should be a 30-second man-up opportunity. So right there, you get the push from behind. Right there with possession, so there's your 30. And there was another penalty. Yeah, it's a little bit of a slash there, a little bit of whacking.
Harassing Michael Hart, the sophomore for Stony Brook. Seawolves toss it around, down 5, under 9 to play in regulation. They pass it out in front. Those sticks are starting to really fly now. Some aggressive play by Hofstra's defense. Stony Brook hunching for a goal right now. Bitzer to White to Corpolongo. They keep weaving it around. Here are the crisp passing now for Stony Brook. Corpolongo, that outside shooter, doesn't take it. Dumped right. Race for it is Michael Diener. Nearly snared it for Hofstra. 8 minutes to play. Bitzer looks to make the right move here. Corpolongo fires a one-hopper, it's home! Stony Brook within 4, 10-6.
And that's a great shot from Corpolongo. We talk about how he could bring it from the outside with heat, and then hits him with the changeup. A little bit of a bounce shot. Can't put it in a better spot when you shoot a bounce shot. Put it in a perfect spot. Ball sits right under the crossbar. Just a great shot from Corpolongo.
Time of the goal, 7:07 of the fourth.
Well, we had a hunch. Would this be a ball game? Would Stony Brook get back in it? Well, I think it's safe to say 8 minutes, 4-goal game. No signs of backing down. Jim Nagel must have challenged his squad, not just at the half, but transitioning from that third to fourth quarter. Corpolongo, his second of the game, and a team-high 18 goals for the senior from Summers High School. Great ball movement, too, by Stony Brook in that previous possession. Taking their time. Ended up working out for the Seawolves.
He did a nice job right there creating that turnover. Chris Clark ran into a quadruple team. Stony Brook using the pole to face off Tyler Anderson, which is almost letting Hofstra win it and then trying to get aggressive on it. There's a goal for Stony Brook.
Corpolongo again. He is fired up for the Seawolves.
And again, it starts with that turnover at the face-off X, using the pole, creating double teams and triple teams after Hofstra wins it. And actually right there, it was White. Wayne White with the goal from the outside. But again, it starts with that ride off of the face-off, creating the turnover. Stony Brook back in within 3 with over 7 minutes to go. We've got ourselves a game.
And Seth Tierney appropriately takes a timeout. Big one for White. Corpolongo was extremely thrilled for him. He was showing the same elation as the goal scorer in a much needed timeout. Don't forget, Lax Sports Network will bring you a men's and women's doubleheader, featuring some of the best teams in the nation. First CAA game of the week this Saturday. Denver Pioneers just knocked off the perfect perch of #1 in the country. Denver now down to #7 in the nation. They traveled across the country to take on Towson in at #16 this week. Then at 2:30, the women's lacrosse team for Towson is live on LSN, taking on the Oregon Ducks. Coverage at 11:30 a.m. Eastern with the CAA pregame show. That will be an action-packed Saturday on LSN. We've got ourselves a good one down the stretch. 7:11 to go. And here are some of these recent Stony Brook goals to get back in this game. 3:01, they were down 10-4, now it's 10-7. Corpolongo with 2, or pardon, with one of those goals. The other one was Hahn before that, and this is White. Bitzer once again just making things happen, mimicking Josh Byrne of Hofstra.
They're playing very well tonight, distributing the ball, being a threat with the ball in his stick. Has probably been their best dodger tonight. Not many guys have created opportunities, off of the dodge besides him. And again, that last goal just created off of a ton of hustle, ton of effort in the riding game and getting that turnover and then being very opportunistic, realizing that Hofstra was not set on defense and able to finish and capitalize on their transition.
Almost 7 minutes left. Hofstra learned its lesson on Saturday against Providence. Had a 10-5 lead. Or an 11-5 lead, pardon me, and then barely hung on. 11-10 win over the Providence Friars. And it was their goalie, Jack Concannon, who bailed out the Pride. Big turnover caused there for Hofstra. Let's see how they handle these final 6.5 minutes when the team does have ball control. How crucial is a possible goal here for Hofstra? Do they have to score in this possession, you feel like?
Well, I was just going to say, great teams respond. when teams make a run on you and start to get back into a game, that's when great teams respond and come up with a play. You know, they've got that 5th in the country rank, and if you want to earn that, this is a spot in the game where someone's got to make a play, kill the other team's momentum, and get the thing swung back into your favor again.
Byrne bursts free, but that shot wide once more to the right side. He had 7 shots on goal the other day against Providence. Byrne scored 4 goals, one of the top scorers in the CAA last year. Big look, Kavanaugh sails over the top of the bar. Does get backed up though by Hofstra. Kavanaugh wanted that one.
Yeah, that was a good look for him. That's something he can, obviously is very capable of burying. Definitely wanted to have that one back.
Yeah, he crow hopped right into it as if he was making the throw for a do or die play at the plate. 5.5 left in the 4th quarter. Hofstra by 3, trying to hold off its Long Island rival Stony Brook. A win for Stony Brook, the all-time series would be even 4-4. This is the 8th all-time meeting. On the end line, Kavanaugh. Mosier, now it's Byrne on the far side. Fakes a shovel left, and he tries to squirt one through the right hip. Didn't fool the Stony Brook D. Also, the shot went wide. It does get backed up, though by the Prime.
One thing Hofstra's doing here well, which is taking some shots, keeping that, you know, that stall warning on, that shot clock off of their back, doing just enough to keep that stall warning off.
Tierney, what a shot as he rifles this one by Bollinger. A much needed shot and a goal for Hofstra.
Hofstra goal, his 4th of the game.
The freshman likes his left hand. Anytime he can get to it, he's dangerous. You see right there, a little rocker step, gets the defenseman off balance. He overplays it a little bit, and he's able to roll to the middle of the field and finish it left-handed. That's just a nice play by the freshman.
Big shot, confidence booster. When Stony Brook was making that run, and Hofstra sort of handed the ball over to them a couple of times, Tierney was one of those guys that did turn it over, and that's a huge moment for the freshman. He happens to be the son of Seth Tierney, the head coach. Big one for Ryan Tierney, 2-time All-American in high school. Scored 53 goals as a senior last year at Massapequa High School. Coming up on 4 minutes left. Hofstra's lead is 4. Trying to stay unbeaten like one of 4 other teams in the nation. Ohio State, Rutgers, and Penn State, all undefeated.
Not usual names in college lacrosse, which is great to see. Some of the parity here, you know, like you said, Rutgers, Ohio State, now Hofstra, possibly tonight. It's really good for the sport of lacrosse to see some of these teams, you know, off to great starts. And then you still have the perennial powers that are having pretty good years. You know, Hopkins, Syracuse, your Denvers, the guys that have been around for the last few years. So a lot of good teams this year. It's wide open and for the taking.
Flag comes out right by Bitzer. Grab pulls up on the brakes. Swings it right. This shot is good for Hahn. Back to a 3-goal game, 11-8. Great first step by Hahn to put this one in the back of the twine.
Beats him to the inside, slides just a half a second too late, which gives him time to get his hands free and bury that with basically no angle. If you're coaching Nagel, you've got to love the way you guys have played here in the second half. Talking about a 5-6 goal deficit. These guys never stopped playing. Just gave up another goal, you know, a few seconds ago with Tierney. And they answer, and they're right back in this game.
Number 22, Josh Byrne, 1 minute for unnecessary roughness.
There's barely any breathing room for Stony Brook, and that goal could not have come at a better time.
Time of the penalties, 11:15.
It's like, yeah, there are 2 men in the penalty box now for Hofstra.
This is a critical face-off. You've got to come away with this one.
2 men there. Brett Osman is a defenseman from Miller Place, New York. And Josh Byrne. Clark's been stellar in his 2nd game back from injury at the X. See if Lindsay can have a response for him.
Hofstra was actually forced to go with Alton and the defender there because they're 2 men down. They don't want to get, they didn't want to have Clark stuck on man down. They want to get all 4 poles on the field. So they had to face off with a defenseman, which was an advantage Stony Brook. And now obviously they're playing man up here, up 2.
Big face-off win for the Seawolves. Dump to the end line. Corpolongo lines up, shot. Gets deflected back out in front. Gathered by the Seawolves again. White dumps it to Bitzer. He's been surveying all night long. Corpolongo gives it up. Deflected. White got it back. That little 2-man game gets shut down. That overload defense. Once more, here's White. His shot deflected away. Concannon. Still Stony Brook possession.
Teams are even.
Man up opportunity concludes. The 2 men return for Hofstra, and they still get the stop.
And you take a look at this save on White. I think instead of walking in, I think he should have just set his feet and just let it. He had plenty of space, plenty of time. I think by walking in, he actually decreased his angle and made it easier for Concannon to track his stick. Should have just caught it right off the pass, stepped down, and let that thing rip. He had plenty of an angle, plenty of time and room to really step in and let that thing rip.
Coming up on 2 minutes left in regulation. Timeout, Seth Tierney and Hofstra. You know, when you bring that up, too, you have to keep in mind it's a young Stony Brook team. They're still learning how to close out games. They had some early season success, without a doubt. That's what's put them in this spot this year. Don't forget, the CAA semifinals are coming to Lax Sports Network. See the top 4 teams for the regular season square off for the right to be in the tournament champion and earn an automatic berth to the NCAA tournament. The men's semifinals are set for May 4th. That's a Thursday. Mark your calendars, with the regular season champion acting as the host. The women's tournament gets underway on May 5th at Towson. See all 4 games live and exclusively on Lax Sports Network. The CAA Game of the Week on Lax Sports Network. It's all access.
You take a look here, the freshman Tierney, again hitting with that little rocker step, just getting enough of a step there and getting to a strong hand and able to finish. And then Hahn able to get in underneath his defender and bury it with his left hand. 2 nice goals from Hahn and Tierney.
He's Steve Pinarelli, Brendan Glasheen with you for the final 2 minutes of regulation. Concannon, another stop.
Shot by number 40, Corey Benjamin.
Ground ball whisked away momentarily by Hofstra. That one flared loose. It was Luke Gomez who snatched it away, but back to Stony Brook as Hofstra lost it. 90 seconds left. Corpolongo! 2-goal game. Whistles it by Concannon.
Stony Brook goal, his 3rd of the game, 19th of the season.
Right there, just bringing the high heat. Take a look here, nice little split dodge. Watch him get his hands all the way back, kiss that inside shoulder, and just let it rip past the goalie, Concannon. Again, nice play there, all you young guys at home, shooting on the run. Too many times guys go to the field to practice, they stand still and they take a shot. There's not too many opportunities in the game where you could just stand still and shoot. You got to be able to shoot on the run. And right there, Corpolongo shows you how to do it.
Corpolongo had 3 goals last year in the win against Hofstra. That's his 3rd of this one tonight. And to use a basketball analogy, he is their outside man. He's their three-point shooter, if you will. He loves that outside shot, and he loves to drain it.
That's a big face-off win for Stony Brook. Give him an opportunity to get this thing down to 1 goal with under a minute. Needed that face-off win.
It's a big one for Lindsay, and it allows Jim Nagel, in year 6 as the head coach, to take a timeout. Approaching the 1-minute mark, like Steve just mentioned. Corpolongo, the minute he gets a little bit of freedom, he's got that 6'3" frame. Brendan Lynch has no chance. He's so undersized. Lynch is 5'8". You got a 6'3" guy who not only loves that shot, but when he sees that differential, I'm sure his eyes light up.
And you can't even slide to it because he's so deep, you know. He's able to get his hamstring because he can shoot it from distance. It's a tough place and a tough spot in the field to have a slide ready to go to. So it's a credit to him how he can just pull it from the outside. Taking a look at this timeout, Coach Tierney. Defensively, they've been pretty good here all night. Quick early slides. I'd like to see maybe Hofstra throw a zone or throw some kind of a different look at Stony Brook. They've been seeing the same type of defense all night. You know, Coach Nagel is drawing up a play or drawing up some kind of offensive set to go against this Hofstra defense. Maybe they throw something at him a little different here. You know, you only got a minute left. If it takes them 20 or 30 seconds to recognize that you're doing a different defense, that could be the ball game. So see what Hofstra does here defensively.
How do you envision the offensive set that Jim Nagel draws up? What do you think we might see here?
The two guys that, you know, are a threat are Han and Corpolongo. Those guys have been having the most success dodging with the ball in their stick. So I'm feeding one of those guys. Maybe having an early dummy dodge, trying to draw a slide, and then getting a short stick on someone like Corpolongo. But either way, it's short time here. They've got to be in a little bit of a hurry. They've got to go and try to get some early offense here early in the possession.
Han and Corpolongo have combined for 4 of Stony Brook's last 5 goals. The Seawolves have scored 6 of the last 7 total. It was much of Hofstra, who scored 7 of the previous 8 from the second quarter into the third quarter. Here's Corpolongo now, 45 seconds. Down 2 for Stony Brook. Van Genhoven to the cutter, middle. Bad turnover. Some of the coaches in disarray for Stony Brook here on the sideline.
Stony Brook going to a 10-man ride, so Hofstra's got to realize that Stony Brook's goalie's out of the net.
30 more seconds for Hofstra to hold on.
If you get in trouble, if you're Hofstra, just send it to the corner.
That Van Genhoven turnover might have put this one away. Turned over at the middle. 9 seconds. The long sticker coming through. Bashed up in the middle. Final seconds. Trickle down. And number 5, Hofstra survives. The Pride improves to 7-0 and stays unbeaten, knocking down its longtime Long Island rival Stony Brook by the final score of 11-9.
On behalf of Hofstra Athletics,
we'll step aside and come back with the head coach, Seth Tierney, and a Hofstra player.
Purchase tickets online at HofstraTickets.com. Have a great night and please drive home safely.
Kid's got 4 goals, yeah. I would go with Tierney. He's got 4 goals. Go with Tierney. It's easy.
And we welcome you back to Stewart Stadium, in Hempstead, New York. Number 5, Hofstra holds on and defeats Long Island rival Stony Brook 11-9. We're joined by freshman Ryan Tierney. 4 goals tonight, a couple of man-up goals for you, Ryan. What does this one mean for you, especially when you guys almost gave up your lead to Providence? It felt like you played a more complete game and weathered the storm despite the comeback by Stony Brook.
I can't hear it. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, sorry, Ryan. So, yeah, hey, how does this one feel to knock off Stony Brook, especially for you being a freshman? You had 4 big ones tonight for your team.
It's huge because it's Battle of the Island, but that's about it.
Ryan, talk about it. Freshman, having a great individual season. Team's off to a great start. Is everything you dreamed of coming into college lacrosse?
Yeah, this is everything and more. The guys are great. The team is great. The chemistry is great. And it's just a different way of life.
For you personally, when you're out there with Jimmy Yanis and Josh Byrne, how much easier do those guys make your life out there when you have chances to make an impact?
Oh, they are literally the reason why I play where I play, because we play together. We're such an unselfish team. We only play to win. We don't care who gets the goals. We don't care who gets the fame. It's just win, win, win.
And I'm sure you know this by now, but Dad likes to say one game at a time. I'm sure he's told you that plenty of times. But you've got one more against St. John's this weekend before the CAA schedule. At this point, you guys are 7-0. The record speaks for itself. But how do you feel about your team so far now as you wrap up conference play and get ready for the conference season?
Our team is a very close-knit team. So, like, the downs aren't really that down, because even if the offense is doing really bad, the defense will pick it up, and then the offense will pick up. Where the offense is playing really bad, the defense is playing really bad, the offense will pick it up, and we kind of balance each other out.
All right, Ryan. Hey, thanks so much. Congrats on the win.
Thank you.
All right, so a big night for the freshman, Ryan Tierney, and his father gives him a big hug down on the sidelines. That would be the 11th-year head coach at Hofstra. That is Seth Tierney, whose team pulls it out to move to 7-0 on the season. Hey, Coach, are you there? Can you hear us?
I can hear you guys. Thanks.
Hey, congrats on the win tonight. You guys go to 7-0. What were you telling your guys down the stretch of this one when Stony Brook started to make a run? What did you tell your guys? Yeah,
I said that, fellas, that's one heck of a team. Well coached, played hard, played for their lives, and this is a Long Island game. It's got a lot to it. And if you thought that they were just going to start the bus after the third quarter, you guys are wrong. So with that, we expected them to make a push. We just got to be a little bit smarter. And then a couple calls didn't go our way, and we were man down. And again, we go 2 men down, and we make a huge stop. I mean, a huge stop. And I think that's what kind of took a little air out of their sails.
Coach, talk about your goalie. 2 games in a row now. He's made some really huge one-on-one saves and kind of, put you guys on his back a little bit. Talk about the play of Concannon.
Yeah, I mean, Stephen, you see it. You're a big-time defenseman, and what it's like to have a goalie like Jack behind you when you played. It just gives you a sense of confidence. And I wish Jack didn't have to make some of those one-on-one saves. It's a sign that we've got to work a little bit with our defense, and we got to start to protect them. We talked about it. Instead of taking advantage of them, we got to start to protect them. That's what we need. Yeah, Jack had 19 saves against Providence. He had 17 in this one tonight. Just a really sensational performance. Hey, Coach, we'll get you out on this. 7-0. You've got St. John's, one more non-conference game before you get set for CAA play. At this point now, 7 games in the books. How do you feel about your guys? Yeah, I feel great. I'm so proud of them. They've worked hard. They've been through a bunch, and for us to be 7-0 right now, it's certainly a great feeling seeing what's going on out there in Division I. And we'll celebrate this for a few minutes. These midweek games are tough. We got a tough another opponent in St. John's coming up on Saturday. Hey, enjoy this one, Coach. Best of luck Saturday. Thank you, guys. Thanks. All right, that's the head coach Seth Tierney in his 11th season. He now improves to 94-61. As the head coach at Hofstra. 2-time coach of the year. He's got his team at a great spot at 7-0. Well, for my broadcast partners, Steve Panarelli, my name is Brendan Glasheen. Thanks so much for joining us tonight here at